Hi there, I'm Brandon Sparks, and welcome back to the 80's Emporium, your home for everything 80s. Today we're talking about a star who was not only a star in the 1980s, but has been a star for over 5 decades. Steve Martin.
Like I said, I'm Steve Martin, and I'll be out here in a minute.
Stephen Glenn Martin was born in Waco, Texas, but soon moved to Inglewood, California at age 5 with his parents and older sister. Martin started his first job at age 10, selling guidebooks on the weekends and during the summer breaks at Disneyland in Anaheim, California. After a few weeks at Disneyland, Martin gained a job at the magic shop, where he constantly practiced magic, juggling, and creating balloon animals, which became skills he used during his stand-up career, allowing him to separate himself from the rest of the comedy crowd. Martin moved to Los Angeles and soon dropped out of college to focus on stand-up comedy. In 1967, he landed a job as a writer on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, and during his time there, his work earned him his first, and so far only, Emmy Award. In the 1970s, Martin spent the entire decade perfecting his stand-up comedy act, which many saw as fresh and exciting. He started at small clubs across the country before finally making several late-night appearances, including hosting Saturday Night Live, where he became one of the most popular hosts in the show's history. He finished the 1970s with multiple platinum comedy albums and starred in the hit film The Jerk, which helped launch Martin's acting and screenwriting careers after it grossed over $100 million on a $4 million budget. Most actors would follow up a smash hit comedy like The Jerk with another comedy, but Steve Martin did something different. Martin next starred in a musical romantic drama set during the Great Depression called Pennies from Heaven. Based on a BBC television drama, the movie would be Martin's first attempt at a serious role. While many praised the cast's performances and the overall design, the film was a massive financial failure, only grossing $9 million against a $22 million budget. When asked about the movie by Rolling Stone, Martin said, "I'm disappointed that it didn't open as a blockbuster, and I don't know what's to blame other than it's me and not a comedy." Still, the film received 3 Oscar nominations, and Martin earned a Golden Globe nomination for his performance. In 1982, Martin followed up Pennies from Heaven with another period piece, but this time, it was a comedy. In Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, Martin reunited with director Carl Reiner, who not only directed Martin in The Jerk, but also worked with him on the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. The two co-wrote this film noir parody film, which was unique in that it used footage from old Hollywood noir movies to create a collage film where Martin shares the screen with famous actors like Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, Cary Grant, and more.
Don't go near my daughter again. Don't try to see her. Don't write her and don't phone her.
Can I use her underwear to make soup?
The film received praise from critics and was a return to box office success for Martin. Reiner and Martin's third film together was the sci-fi black comedy The Man with Two Brains, which finds Martin as a widowed brain surgeon who has invented a new method of brain surgery. He co-starred alongside another 80s rising star, Kathleen Turner, who up to then was known for more serious roles. For more on Kathleen Turner, check out our episode which focuses on the early days of her career. After 2 successful movies, Martin hit a bump with The Lonely Guy, a romantic comedy about a greeting card writer.
I need someone who I don't care a damn about.
Well, I could be that. Just give me a day or 2 to work on it.
He co-starred with the legendary Charles Grodin, and the two reportedly improvised much of the dialogue.
Maybe you can meet girls jogging.
Jogging. Remember when I first saw Rocky, I came running out of the theater, ran into the park, started jogging, shadow boxing. Guy came up and punched me right in the face. God.
Included amongst the screenwriters of the film was legendary writer Neil Simon. Steve Martin went on to star in another Simon-penned film, The Out-of-Towners, in 1999. The Lonely Guy has since become a forgettable movie within Martin's filmography, only grossing $5 million in its initial run and receiving mixed reviews from critics. Martin reunited with Carl Reiner for the 4th and final time with their 1984 body swap comedy, All of Me.
Oh, geez. I can't lift my right leg. I'm paralyzed.
Here, let me try.
Also starring Lily Tomlin, All of Me was originally going to star Chevy Chase and Goldie Hawn. Both Tomlin and Martin were nominated for Golden Globes for their roles in the film. All of Me is particularly important in Martin's personal life because it was where he met his first wife, Victoria Tennant. They were married from 1986 to 1994. In one of the oddest combination of names ever listed on a screenplay, Three Amigos was written by Steve Martin, SNL creator and producer Lorne Michaels, and legendary music artist Randy Newman. This slapstick comedy follows 3 silent film actors who wind up in a small Mexican village and are taken for real-life Western heroes by the village residents. Along with Martin, the movie starred Chevy Chase and Martin Short, But the movie almost had a completely different cast. In 1980, the film was set to star Steve Martin, Dan Aykroyd, and John Belushi. Then, later on, it was Martin, Bill Murray, and Robin Williams in the lead roles, with Steven Spielberg in talks for directing. Other names rumored for the movie were John Candy and Rick Moranis. Because of the popularity of both Steve Martin and Chevy Chase, Martin received top billing in most posters and on home video graphics, but Chase received top billing in the movie itself. For more on Three Amigos and the Western films of the 1980s, check out our episode on our YouTube channel. Steve Martin made a special appearance in the cult classic musical Little Shop of Horrors as Orin Scrivello.
DDS.
While his role was small, Little Shop of Horrors would prove to be very important to his career, as it was his first collaboration with two people who would work with him several times. The first was Rick Moranis, the second was director Frank Oz, who he would work alongside with for a total of 4 films. One of Martin's most underappreciated talents is his writing skills, and when it comes to writing movies, his 1987 film Roxanne is one of his best.
Service! Game!
Based on the classic 1897 play Cyrano de Bergerac, Martin plays Charlie C.D. Bales, an intelligent, witty, and kind fire chief of a small town. But he has an abnormally large nose.
Why don't you just get that nose job?
I did.
Also starring Daryl Hannah, Rick Rossovich, and the late great Shelley Duvall, Roxanne was a box office and critical success, landing Martin a Writers Guild of America award for Best Screenplay and his 3rd Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. For more on Roxanne, check out our episode on rom-coms in the 1980s. In the same year as Roxanne, Martin starred in one of the most popular movies of his career, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Happening.
Oh, we almost hit a deer, that's all.
Written and directed by The Breakfast Club's John Hughes, the 1987 film was Hughes' transition from teen movies to more adult-themed content. Also starring the legendary John Candy, Martin plays an advertising executive trying to get home from New York to Chicago in time for Thanksgiving, but gets stuck traveling with Candy's charming yet annoying character. The film has inspired other filmmakers, including Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds, who stated the movie was a major influence on Deadpool and Wolverine. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has become a classic and one of the most beloved Thanksgiving films of all time. And if you're looking for more 80s Thanksgiving films, we've got an episode for that too. In 1988, Martin reunited with his Little Shop of Horrors director, Frank Oz, for the comedy Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
It is better to be truthful and good than to not.
Based on a 1964 movie called Bedtime Story, starring David Niven and Marlon Brando, Martin starred opposite Michael Caine as 2 con artists in France. Martin was initially supposed to play the role of Lawrence, the experienced con man, alongside Bill Murray, who would play Freddie, the newcomer. But once Murray dropped out, Martin ended up switching roles to Freddie, allowing Michael Caine to step in for the role of Lawrence.
What?
The film would end up being a critical and commercial success, with many praising the chemistry between Martin and Caine.
I could kick your ass off this hill in a New York minute.
And I could have you arrested again.
A Broadway musical based on the film opened in 2004, starring John Lithgow and Norbert Leo Butz, who won a Tony for the show. The show continues to tour to this day. Steve Martin's final film of the 1980s was considered somewhat of a departure for him. Directed by Ron Howard, Parenthood was a large dramedy ensemble that starred Martin as a father who must balance his parental duties and his career.
I'm sorry! I did the best I could! Nice shot, son! It's important to be supportive!
The film also starred Rick Moranis, Jason Robards, Tom Holtz, Martha Plimpton, Mary Steenburgen, Keanu Reeves, Diane Wiest, and a young Joaquin Phoenix. Despite many other early successes, the film ended up being the highest-grossing film of the decade for Steve Martin. The film's popularity inspired 2 television series in 1990 and 2010. In the 1980s, audiences saw Steve Martin transition from a popular offbeat stand-up comedian to a bona fide Hollywood movie star. In the 1990s, he continued to star in several comedy classics, including the Father of the Bride series and My Blue Heaven. He also continued to write a movie every few years that he starred in, including L.A. Story, A Simple Twist of Fate, and Bowfinger in the 1990s, as well as Shopgirl and 2 Pink Panther movies in the 2000s. Martin's writing also transitioned from the big screen to novels and plays. In 1993, he wrote the hit play Picasso at the La Panagile, and in 2014, he wrote the music and book for his Tony-nominated musical Bright Star. In the 2000s, he wrote the novella Shopgirl, which was later turned to the 2005 movie starring Claire Danes, Jason Schwartzman, and Steve Martin. He also wrote a children's book, a novel, and a memoir about his time in stand-up comedy called Born Standing Up, which he also recorded as an audiobook. Martin also spent some time focusing on music, releasing several bluegrass albums and receiving 3 Grammy Awards for his work. Along with his 2 Grammy Awards for his stand-up comedy, Steve Martin currently has 5 Grammy wins and even more nominations spanning 5 decades. After conquering multiple mediums, Steve Martin had yet another career resurgence in the 2020s, when he returned to television with the hit show
Only Murders in the Building.
Co-created by Martin, the Hulu series has been a massive success with audiences and critics, with everyone loving the chemistry between Martin and his co-stars, Selena Gomez, and his longtime acting partner, Martin Short, who he's also toured with for several years now.
Marty and I have been working together so long that we can actually finish each other's careers.
Since the show's first season, Martin has received 6 Emmy nominations for the show, covering his work as an actor, writer, and producer. In 2022, Steve Martin said that the show would probably be his last major role before finally retiring. But it doesn't seem like it's slowing down anytime soon after being renewed for a 5th season. Here's hoping we get to see a few more great works from Steve Martin before he decides to step out of the spotlight after such a phenomenal career. Now I want to hear from you. What's your favorite Steve Martin performance in the 1980s? How about in the years since? Let us know in the comments. Remember to give us a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
It's an odd taste, isn't it? It's probably watered down.
Hey.